Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we will be talking about the severe weather potential that could be going on across the Midwest on Sunday, June 20th, which is tomorrow if you're watching this on the 19th of Saturday. And we will be also going over a potential pretty cool break of weather across the central United States early next week. And it's actually pretty remarkable how cool it could get, even some frost as far north as just north of Lake Superior. So yeah, definitely very, very chilly air after that, but we first have to get through the severe weather, and a very active pattern follows that cool weather. Definitely doesn't stay for long, the cool weather. Okay, if you're new, hello, welcome. I do stuff about the weather, and if you would like to subscribe, consider doing that. If you are a returning viewer, liking the video is awesome, and if you're not subscribed, that is also awesome. And let's start talking about the weather. Okay, so I want to start off by looking at the radar. Notice we have quite a bit of stuff going on. Earlier on in the week, there was very few stuff to look at. We were talking about an upcoming active pattern. Well, we are definitely in this active pattern. First off, tropical storm, tropical disturbance, remnants bringing a lot of moisture into Georgia, Alabama. They already dumped quite a bit into Louisiana and Mississippi, right? Notice across the Northeast, showers, storms. None really, I think, are severe, but definitely some flooding potential across Kentucky, Rhode Island, especially where those storms are training. Notice we do have a few storms that developed across just south of Chicago into now Indiana and Michigan. Definitely are bringing heavy downpours. Look at that, just north of St. Louis, and actually some did impact St. Louis. We have, again, a torrential rain going on, thunderstorms, lightning. I don't think they are awfully severe, but, I mean, look at that. They've been sitting there for a while, drenching people with the rain. And then notice we have the main story for tomorrow is this low pressure that's really originating a lot of these systems, or at least kind of waves of storms. This will continue shifting towards the east, and as it does so, it brings a severe weather threat into Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana. Not a horrendous threat, but definitely the largest one of the year for that region, and so that's definitely something we'll have to watch for. In terms of the warnings, notice there's a severe thunderstorm watch for Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, into Nebraska, and some of these are, you could see, severe warned, and let's see what they read. Quarter size hail, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so again, more of a wind type storm. I'm assuming these are probably also with wind, but probably some larger hail. Okay. Yeah, so definitely some decent-sized hail. And then right there across the northern Indiana area, there is also a severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, and hail. Also, torrential rain is occurring with these storms, and that's really going to be the case with all of these storms, as they're in a very buoyant air mass. And we do also have a tornado watch for much of Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi, which, again, there's a chance for those to spawn some tornadoes. Okay, now I want to take a look at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. Okay, notice we have now the website pulled up. We have actually several areas for today and into tonight. Notice one across the Northeast. We have a slight risk. Again, that is still going to be kind of filled in with the thunderstorms. None of them have started occurring just yet. Notice they did obviously issue, here are their discussions. So they issued one for the Indiana area, that severe thunderstorm watch, and notice there's obviously a slight risk across the south, and in a enhanced one, so the greatest across Nebraska, Kansas, and yeah, that's it stretches out all the way into Illinois. But notice tomorrow, Sunday, we have the enhanced a little bit further towards the east, obviously, and a bit towards the north into Chicago. Large cities like the Quad Cities as well, Rockford, Naperville, Joliet, Aurora. And then notice that slight risk is for many locations. We have Kansas City, Detroit, Omaha, Toledo, Fort Wayne. There are definitely a lot of locations. And then the marginal, we have Indianapolis, Columbus, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Wichita. So still definitely a threat. I do want to go over the dangers. Notice tornado, it's definitely there. Rather small threat, but it's there. We have a wind threat, which is pretty high, and then a hail threat, which is a bit further towards the west, as it's initially when these storms develop is when the hail threat is the highest, and the wind could be kind of once they start even dying off, these storms. So definitely a concern in terms of today's threat. You could see tornadoes highest where they have that tornado watch. The wind across the Nebraska, Kansas area, and then hail, kind of not that high of a chance, but it's definitely there. And Monday they issued the first slight, which is further towards the east, which we will definitely have to be keeping a track of, and I'll show you why they issued that on Monday, because it develops into this large cold front that then is responsible with bringing the very strong, cool blast of air. there's a GFS. Look at that storm system, right? It brings that severe weather into a lot of the Midwest tomorrow. And again, it starts off with that storm cluster today. The Northeast gets impacted by this. And look, here we have that huge line of storms develop into late Monday and into early Tuesday. Look at that. Just, I mean, it's stretching for thousands of miles. And obviously behind that, we have a lot of chilly air. Look at that. Some snow even across southern Canada. And just to show you how strong of an anomaly this creates, I need to pull up the 2-meter temperature anomalies, and that will give you a good representation of what's going on. So here we have, you can see just air masses a bit warmer, definitely a bit cooler, and that's what spills down behind this cold front. Look at that. That is more of a winter type or fall type outbreak of cool air. Definitely a lot of these locations will be feeling nice, cool blast of air, but again, it doesn't last for long, like all good things. And we do have a second one that follows, but definitely more warm air works its way in. But yeah, I mean, I would say that definitely the Midwest could be seeing some bouts of chilly air. The Northwest, the Southwest, very warm, unfortunately. The East, South, more warmer than cool, but definitely a few of those bouts of cool air make their way down there. Definitely the West getting hammered the worst, and that's the worst because they are in a drought that is looking to get no relief. So again, if you were to take a look at the precipitation type for the next few days, there's our system, severe weather tomorrow. I mean, you could go on hours talking about all the different threats, the synopsis of the situation, and it's really different for pretty much every single area. But notice that this pretty much combines with the tropical storm energy that's left behind. And yeah, very powerful storms developing Tuesday. They push on into Wednesday, and by early Wednesday, they're pretty much done. But look, we see a resurgence across further into Minnesota, Iowa, and more storm systems. Definitely not a quiet or benign pattern. Very active. Look at that strong low pressure, more of a winter-like system than a summer-like storm. And yeah, continued rain chances. That's definitely good. A lot of locations need this rain, especially since we are approaching. Many of the locations are approaching the hottest time of the year, which is when plants and vegetation demand a lot of water. Notice, look at some of these amounts. Obviously, these aren't pinpoint accurate, right? But many locations probably will end up with 5 to 6 inches plus in the next 10 to 15 days. Again, you can see it switches based on which model run you look at. This was the one from the morning. Notice it showed a bit more across the Southwest. Now it shows a bit less, which is pretty bad news, but that's what the that's what the GFS shows. The Canadian always shows a bit less, not only because it's less further up, but it's just one of those models that shows less. But I'm surprised actually by the amount it puts out here. Quite a bit across the Midwest, the South, maybe a bit across the Southern Plains, Southern Central Plains, but not as much. And then across the West and Northwest, not that much either. I'm going to take a run through the Canadian and see how it differs. Notice there is our tropical storm. There's our system for tomorrow. Yeah, it definitely keeps that thing strong tomorrow. That Canadian model, look at that thing. That just explodes. Obviously, we have that very strong cold front to do Tuesday. Wednesday takes a bit of a longer time to get off, according to the Canadian, than what the GFS model shows. And we definitely have that cool air mass outbreak. But look, another system passes through, and that cold front just stalls. Wow, that definitely could be an interesting event if that were to happen. Probably some flooding across the plains. Let's take a look at its temperatures with that cool air blast that we could be seeing. Notice, look what happens here. We have decently warm temperatures. I would say rather humid, uncomfortable, but look at that. With that storm system, boom, a wave of very, very chilly air. Some of these locations during the day are 20 to 30 degrees below average. That is very cool, but Canadian brings in a very, very large heat dome, probably some 90s again for the upper plains, and keeps it warmer than the GFS in the long term. But let's take a look at that. What is this, hour 78? And take a look at what the 2-meter temperatures could look like for the daytime highs across these locations. Look at that, 50s across Ohio, anywhere here, 70s. Definitely warm across the west, further west, and maybe the coastal areas. But again, that does eventually work its way all the way to the coast with those 60s showing. Probably a bit weaker, right? But definitely, 74 during the daytime. That's definitely nice. Rather chilly, for some would say. And then taking a look at what the European shows in terms of temperatures. Notice there's our warmth, very profound warmth, and there's our cool off. The European definitely during the night shows some chilly temperatures. Again, even some frost across central to northern portions of Ontario. Look at that. Those morning lows, definitely chilly, crisp. But that is definitely going to be appreciated, as what follows that, according to the European, are 90s and 80s and 100s in some locations. So again, yeah, definitely a hot pattern. Hotter across the west, you could see. Definitely, if it were to be cool, it's across kind of the Midwest and southern Canada area. So that's definitely a classic kind of troughing of the jet stream. But again, not necessarily a good pattern. That can mean quite a bit of severe weather with the clashing sides. Look at that 30s right there across Hudson Bay in the middle of June, which is definitely indicative of a chilly air mass. I remember last year I was looking around the 4th of July timeline. There was, I think, 90s supposed to be here, which was just insanely warm. And this is definitely more average. I wouldn't say this is completely average. It's definitely a bit cooler for that time. You could see, but it's more average than seeing those colors up there. I remember they had one of the hottest summers across Hudson Bay where the polar bears live. It was like 40 degrees above average in some areas. It's definitely good to see that the warm air is further to the south, not that displaced further to the north. However, again, they're in a drought, so that's not good. Let's take a look at some high-res models regarding the severe weather tomorrow. A lot of people are probably wondering, when will I get hit? What will happen? A lot of those details, unfortunately, can't be really pinpointed as they're very hard to see. And unfortunately, it's kind of a chain reaction forecast. One small thing differs, and that could derail the rest of it, right? So notice this is what happens into today, into tonight. This is Sunday at around 7 o'clock. So this is around 12. This is 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Notice waves of showers and storms across the Midwest. We then start developing this pretty strong cold front, which could be kind of the second wave. And exactly where that sets up again is kind of a mystery. And look at that. Into Monday and Tuesday, we see that very large cold front pass through with that very chilly air, which the high-res models all show as well. I do want to take a glance at that just to show you, well, for some reason, you could just look at the temperatures. They'll show us how big of an anomaly that is. Notice we go from one day, Sunday, 85 in Chicago. I'm just using my location here. To look at that, 60s the next day. And look at that, Michigan even cooler, the UP, 50s. Definitely nice conditions. A nice cool off. And look, it spills into the Northeast as well. So that is definitely going to be very nice. Look at those temperatures across Texas. Wow, that is hot. So yeah. That's going to be nice to see that cool air. But let's take a look at some extremely high-res models like the HRV3. Let's take a look at the regional Midwest, since that's where the biggest risk for severe weather is. Doesn't let me look at the United States as a whole on this model. Notice there's our event that's happening right now. This is right around right now. So again, these thunderstorms are a bit further towards the west. So this model isn't perfect, but notice it does show this cluster kind of moving through Iowa, Illinois, more of a light rain event into Minnesota. Definitely some thunderstorms as well. And then look, it develops like cold front, explosive storms, large hail, damaging winds, especially at this phase. Yeah, each model shows its different opinion. That's why the confidence is so low, and the National Weather Service just has to use more, information from the weather balloons and kind of just estimate where the fronts are, where the boundary is, and know what atmosphere is going to produce what and where. And notice this is what happens, right? This is, again, right where we are right now in terms of time, 8 o'clock here, Central Standard Time. And notice we see waves of storm moving into Iowa, maybe into, again, Illinois, Minnesota. These are a bit strong. I don't think they will be that strong in Minnesota, but it is possible. And then notice we have that explosive cold front, lines of storms, clusters of storms, definitely some supercells as well. There could be a tornado threat, which, yeah, sounds scary, but it's definitely a possibility. Total accumulated precipitation. A lot of these locations are dry, so they would need it. That is nice to see. And looking at the Canadian kind of high-res model, this is what it shows. Again, quite a bit of location, seeing some pretty heavy rain. And that's basically all the models I wanted to show you. Here again, a few more. Let's take a look at this model. And because this one did a pretty good job with the previous event, so I'm going to show it to you guys. Again, you can see it does a pretty good job with the storms right there. Again, a bit further towards the east than they are right now. So that's already a bit off, but notice there's our system. Again, several waves for many locations across Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, the first wave, and then there's a second wave in the afternoon. And look, it spills towards the south. And if you're to look in the longer range at the national, which unfortunately I can only look by region. Again, these storms turn into this giant line of storms on Monday and into Tuesday, which I'm having trouble showing it to you. There you go, you could see. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a interesting event. We have cold air from the north, very warm air from the south, and the Storm Prediction Center is already issuing slight risks. And it's actually favoring the north, where that cold air is potentially going to be. So yeah, definitely. I think we could see some enhanced, if not some moderates in some locations. I wouldn't be too surprised. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all guys in the next episode. Stay safe, stay cool, and just keep an eye to the sky.